I love this book.
Ouch! Why did you do that?
Do what?
You poked me.
No, I didn't.
Dad, he keeps poking me.
What? Dad, I am not even touching him.
Stop it, both of you. Do not make me pull this car over.
But John started it.
I don't care who started it. I'm finishing it.
Dad, Jim just poked me.
Stop it. Just stop it, both of you. Why can't you two just get along? You're brothers. You should love each other.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Dad, that's gross.
This scene probably looks familiar to you, as almost all of us have either been engaged in a similar fight with our siblings, been the parent or grandparent in such a scenario, or have witnessed some other parent having this issue with their kids. Personally, I can think of a few different times when I was engaged in some similar dispute with my siblings, and my dad saying in complete frustration, "You are brothers. You should love each other. Why can't you just get along?" This seems to be the attitude that Pope Francis presents in his new encyclical, Fratelli Tutti, that was released on the feast of St. Francis this year. Personally, I feel that Fratelli Tutti sounds like a new Italian dish that could go great with Parmigiano, but it is actually a papal encyclical on fraternity and social friendship. Encyclicals are a fancy Vatican term for a letter from the Pope that is circulated among a large population. The popes have used them as a way to communicate with large portions of the Church, often the whole Church at once. Unlike other encyclicals that are usually geared towards Catholics, Pope Francis took a more generic and universal approach in this letter. Speaking to all peoples in all places, the Pope identifies a large number of issues facing the modern world and encourages the world with a bold and beautiful vision of what the world could be if we all lived in fraternity and social friendship. The encyclical feels like it is written with world leaders particularly in mind, with the average person being spoken to as a way of putting pressure on our politicians and leaders. All throughout the encyclical, the Pope repeatedly calls for everyone to acknowledge and respect the dignity that is present within every human being. Unfortunately, human beings are not born with respect for human dignity within them, and a good number of us learn it only partially, even Christians. So as the Pope scolds the world to respect one another's human dignity and live in brotherhood with one another, this encyclical reminds me of a father telling his boys, "You're brothers. You should love each other. Why can't you just get along?" Reflecting on this phrase in light of my own childhood, growing up with 3 brothers and 1 sister, along with some research I did on why siblings don't get along, I came to the realization that the reason we don't get along with our siblings has to do with legitimate grievances we have against them. Since the fall of Adam and Eve, humans have been inclined towards selfishness instead of love, a situation we call concupiscence. This concupiscence is so strong that after only 1 generation, Cain had fallen so deeply into darkness that he could kill his brother Abel. So instead of looking at our siblings as beings that came from the same source, concupiscence makes us look at them as competitors that take things that in our minds is rightfully ours. Now, sibling dynamics are way more complicated than this and can include differences in personalities, favoritism, superiority or inferiority complexes, lack of proper communication, and general selfishness. But in all of these things, there is a whiff of competition. Siblings become our first, closest, and most present competitor through childhood. They steal affection and time from our parents and others that we believe should have been ours. They steal resources that we wanted, like food or use of the computer or car. They steal opportunities that we could have had, like trips we couldn't afford or less money for college. Everything in our fallen nature tells us we must do what we can to compete against and take back everything that was stolen by our siblings. For most people, this seems to change as the children leave their parents' house, partially because of an increase in maturity, but largely because the siblings are no longer competitors in most respects. And now that we live in the cutthroat world of adults, where there are far more competitors that are much more challenging than our siblings, we begin to look upon the past fondly and find old friends where once there was a threat. We begin to respect them because of the hell we went through together and the fact that we know each other better than almost any other person on the planet. Unfortunately, this isn't truly a resolution of the initial problem. The problem just went away. So anytime something happens that triggers competition between the adult siblings or a memory of past hurts, it will quickly devolve into an all-out war. This is clearly not the kind of brotherhood that Pope Francis, or more importantly Jesus, is advocating for. But for that discussion, you will have to wait until next week's episode. God bless.